The key to success on the field and in your backyard is a comprehensive game plan. So if you're building a fence or a deck this year, trust a Turkstra coach to design, quote, or order the right materials for your project. Visit a Turkstra Lumber near you to learn more.
From the Ticats Audio Network, this is the Coach O Show with Luke Tasker.
Welcome back to the Coach O Show with Luke Tasker. We are coming fresh off of the Labor Day Classic. We were on the field, Coach, not just over 12 hours ago, and we are getting ready quickly for your next game this Friday, 7:30 p.m. kickoff in Ottawa. Very short week for the Tiger Cats. As always, listeners, you can send questions for Coach O to gameday@ticats.ca. We have one coming up later in this episode. We pick one every week to ask, so make sure you get your questions in, and we might choose your question to ask Coach. Coach, just the morning after a loss, it's always can be a little bit raw. I remember as a player, sometimes having just one play stuck in my head. Even on wins, sometimes you're thinking about the one thing you did wrong in a game. But as a coach, what sort of stuck in your mind this morning from the Labor Day Classic loss?
Well, you're just kind of getting over the sick feeling, the pit in your stomach, to be honest with you. You're always disappointed. You take the field wanting to win, and I think we should probably we'd be remiss if we didn't talk about just the turnout by the fans and the energy that they brought from pregame. Is a electric environment, and anytime you quote unquote let people down, it's it's a jagged pill to swallow. It's part of sport. It's a zero-sum game. As long as you keep score, there's going to be a winner and a loser. But I thought that the crowd and just the energy it lived up to its billing, and the record attendance thing. So big applause to the city of Hamilton and everybody who came out to support the Ticats, and then just enjoy a Labor Day in this awesome country. With that being said, it is a short week. You can't, we don't have time to lick a bunch of wounds or to, make huge adjustments. We're going to be, on the airplane here in a couple days. And so we're actually looking forward to that, Luke.
Yeah. It was a great turnout for a day that felt like 40 degrees, probably more than that, down on the field with the black rubber pellets soaking up all the heat from the sun. But a beautiful day in Hamilton, and a great turnout from the crowd. Collectively, from the booth, from my perspective, up on the 7th floor there, that was certainly not the worst performance or the worst loss by the Ticats. Some are going to disagree because it's the Labor Day Classic, and to some that's all that matters. But there has to be some good that you see there, or is that too cheap of a maybe moral victory to feel at this point in the season, or because it's Labor Day?
No, it's a fair question. The tough thing is just the repeated things. I mean, playing catch up was tough. When you're playing quote unquote the best team or the team with the best record, you already know your margin for error is going to be extremely small. And, when you play catch up, we had the wind in the second quarter. 17 points is too much, even when they have the wind. Lots of things contributed to that. In all three phases. And when you're playing catch up against a really good football team, it makes it tough. But thought we made our way and held them scoreless when they were going against the wind. So I don't think what you're saying is far-fetched at all. I think it is a reality. I thought we played well in spurts. We just did not take advantage of opportunities that we had, and they did. And so, the bottom line is it was a loss, duly noted. Totally understand that. This is you're judged off of wins and losses, but it's not just like the wins and loss shows up with the coin flip. You got to go out there and play a game. So it's everything in between that contribute to the wins or the losses. And we just didn't play well enough in three phases consistently to make the game, keep it competitive early.
Yeah. The 17 points in the first quarter, like, it got lopsided very quickly, but it's not like Toronto had, at some point throughout the season, Toronto has just beat teams by on their own successes. I mean, driven down the field and kind of scored regardless of the scenario. But they had the field position was entirely out of whack in the first quarter. There, it almost wrote the story of the first quarter on its own. Is that how you see it as well?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it was, that's part of playing catch up, right? Not just on the scoreboard, but the field position was lopsided. And, historically, we've done a really strong job of playing better than other teams in our own stadium because you're generally going to get two quarters like that. And so you got to take advantage of those types of situations when you can. And so, we were behind there. But again, 3 scores isn't ideal. No. It's not insurmountable because it's early. You'd rather be down 17 than in the fourth. Yeah. And so we had a lot of football in front of us. So there was you don't want to start that way, but there was no reason to panic or anything. We just needed to play better consistently.
Yeah. The field position, the punt team was, of course, struggling in that first quarter. Is that where you start with sort of the diagnosis and the fixing of that field position?
Yeah, it's tough because, normally you can when you talk about offense and defense, you're talking about the execution of, the whole, right? The protection, the blocking, out everything. And same with defense. However, when it comes to punting, you're really talking about the snapper. Yes, of course, there's protection, but you're really talking about the snapper and the punter. And we had a tough day punting. That's just what it was. Placement wasn't what it needed to be. When we had the wind, we didn't hit the ball well. They were better than us in that phase. And that's fine. It's just, it's hard to coach around that. Right. And so, we had some good things. So there was a couple of good place things. I thought we had some great returns, when we're talking about special teams in general. Then, I think Legio's, field goal probably would have been good from 70. It wasn't a leg problem. It was just the accuracy. So lining up for a long field goal, again, you've played in our stadium. Those are, we've had multiple kickers. That's, and those got to go through the pipes in those situations. So it was just a tough day, kicking, and that's part of it. And you coach around it, you move on.
Sticking on the special teams there, as you come out of half, was it your strategic selection sort of to take the ball in the third quarter?
Yeah. At that point, we couldn't fall behind anymore.
Yeah.
And we, all of a sudden they pick up 15, 12 points right away. Just we needed to try to make a game of that and we got it. I think it was a 1-score game, Luke.
Yeah. You cut it down
there. Yeah. And we knew it was going to be a battle, but that was a decision that we made because we just didn't feel like, I didn't feel like we could fall behind anymore or be pinned deep and try to get out and then try to punt into that wind. It just wasn't conducive for that game on that day.
And for listeners, the Ticats deferred at the coin toss, won the toss, deferred, and then instead of taking the wind in the fourth, sometimes, because the fourth quarters are longer, oftentimes you'll take the wind for the longer quarter at your back. But in this case, I almost expected it and that you do that, and I thought it was a good call. I mean, the second quarter, your defense was unbelievable. I mean, the Argonauts were not able to move the ball very well, and that trend continued into the third quarter. It was one of those games to me, Coach, that almost felt like if there was a fifth quarter, you never know what was going to happen. The Argonauts were held to almost no offensive production for the middle half of the game. Mm-hmm. And then finally we're able to start putting offensive drives together. It's like 17 points fell into their lap in the first quarter. And then your defense effectively was winning the game while your offense actually found some rhythm. And, it's hard. It's hard to, you can feel good about those little wins, but when it came down to it, of course, it didn't add up. But I guess defensively, it was a decent performance. Is that your overall take on Mark Washington's defense?
Outside of the points scored, yeah, I think if reviewing the tape, you're going to see positive. I think where we got to be a little bit better is just obviously the explosions down there, and I thought we covered down pretty well, but then Chad was able to escape and run a little bit on I think on a 2nd and 14, and those type of things add up by the end, and that's a drive extender there where if you hold them to a field goal there, now all of a sudden instead of 17, we're at 14, and now it's, it just feels and looks different, and that's not the hand we're dealt. So at the end of the day, no, the performance overall wasn't good enough, but the defense I thought came up with, those 2 interceptions there and gave us an opportunity. I thought we did a decent job of corralling the run. That most of the rushing yards came from the quarterback and they got an all-pro running back there that doesn't go down easy. So yeah, you got to grab the little nuggets, but then you got to keep the main thing, and that's finding a way to win.
The Argonauts have the celebration with the hammer in the end zone. Kind of hard to watch from the booth. They were penalized for it on the field, of course, but can you just describe your reaction to that whole scenario?
No, not on this show.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
I can't. So, we'll play him again.
Yeah, agreed. Let's get to a fan question here, Coach. This is from Timothy and Jacqueline, in Hamilton. And they ask, as we transition here to the Ottawa game, they ask, how can you get ready to play a game in 3 days? With 2 question marks. That seems crazy to me when normally football teams get a full week, unlike many other sports. What do you think about the short week, and do you think they should be eliminated from the CFL schedule? Thank you and good luck.
Oh, great question. I know why she had 2 question marks now, because there's 2 questions in there. I feel like she snuck a couple in there.
Yeah.
So how do you prepare for a game? Well, it's on the schedule. Okay, so that's how you start preparing. You know what it is. Ottawa's going to be coming off a bye. They're going to be fresh, ready to go. They're going to have tape, and they're going to be ready to go at their home stadium. So that. The second thing is, because we knew that, we were able to prepare a little bit, as odd as it sounds. You prepare for Ottawa a little bit last week. You pick a day, you pick a half a day, and you start shuffling through some Ottawa tape, start gathering some ideas so that when this day comes, it's not overwhelming. You also prepare your football team. I showed them the schedule early last week of what was coming up, the importance of taking care of their body, doing the right things, not just for the Toronto game, but because the turnaround was going to be quick. So schematically, we should be fine there. Obviously, they're going to be more rested. There's just not anything we can do about that. So, and the third part to that is you prepare your mind that there'll be no excuses. Like we're going out there on a mission to win. It's another opportunity. It's an Eastern Division game. It's a chance to obviously grab 2 more points and go from there. So you embrace the opportunity versus talk about what it's not. As far as the CFL and doing away with it, I can always say as a player, I love playing 3 games in 12, 15 days, whatever. Sometimes it's 3 paychecks, right? You get paid weekly here. So as a player, it was outstanding. As a coach, not so much. The preparation's a little bit different. I think players would rather play than practice for the most part. I think what's unique about our sport versus others is that, you are getting in a car accident every week, and that's your body needs time to heal. So you can't really play 2-3 games a week like you would in other sports. It's probably a lot longer discussion here as far as what I think about it. I don't want to get in too much crossfire here, but thank you for your questions.
Yeah. It was always, as a player, it depends if you're healthy or not. Like if you were really struggling with an injury, like if you're playing through something, I mean, you always have something, but if you're playing through, like a borderline, real injury, the 3 days can be tough. if you happen to find yourself at a relatively healthy point in the season, then I actually kind of enjoyed the quick turnaround because it's a short week of practice and you kind of just buckle up again. You get 2 paychecks in 4 days. You kind of just get back on the field and go. Although I wonder if you think of this as well, Coach. I remember it sort of being unsettled. It was an unsettling thought that you're getting off the field from a game and the other team is like already on day 2 of their practice week getting ready for you. But you just closed your mind off to the last team and you kind of realize that, man, they've already been thinking about me for 2 days. It's kind of a little bit unsettling there. But the game comes and it all, once the ball is kicked off, the short week or the long week or the bye week or whatever it is sort of disappears anyways.
Yeah, no, well said. I think those are important points there as far as just if you're healthy or not. I think everything's not equal, right? Linemen may have a perspective, special teams players may have a perspective, but all good conversation.
Yeah. Timothy and Jacqueline in Hamilton, thank you very much. Listeners, send your questions for Coach O to gameday@ticats.ca. Put in a subject question for the Coach O Show, and we might pick yours to ask on next week's episode. The Coach O Show with Luke Tasker is presented by Turkstra Lumber. Check out the project coaches at Turkstra Lumber. They can help with every part of your home reno, from designing a deck to ordering a new front door. Learn more at turkstralumber.com. So, Coach, now you do turn your sights to Ottawa. The Labor Day Classic is in the rearview mirror here, and you've beat this team 2 times this season. What does it take to make it 3?
3 phases. 3 phases of football. Playing, just as we always say, faster, smarter, and more physical. That's really what it is. We've got to find a way to execute consistently, take advantage of our opportunities when they present themselves. Whatever the type of game is. If it's a baseball score game, it's baseball. If it's a shootout, it's a shootout. If it's, we need to get a key second or third down stop, we do it. And we've done that. Like you've seen that. It's just, again, we're looking for consistency. And consistency comes, it's easy to say, well, you got to start in practice. Well, there is no practice this week. There's mental prep. Our minds have to be fresh and our outlook has to be positive. And then we got to go out there and execute.
Yeah, great. Well said, Coach. Short week, and we wish the best of luck as in the 3 days that you do have to get ready. And we're looking forward to Friday night in Ottawa. Thanks, Coach.
Awesome. Thanks, Luke.
Another episode of the Coach O Show with Luke Tasker is in the books. Let us know your thoughts. Email us at gameday@ticats.ca. Coach O and Luke are back next week to discuss the latest from the locker room. Subscribe to the Ticats Audio Network on Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts.